Hi, Happy New Year. I'm Jen Spencer, and this is Jen Spencer's 10-Minute Book Club. Hi, readers. I am so happy to have you here. We have got a bunch of amazing authors lined up for 2023. I think you are going to be thrilled with what you're going to see this year. And today I am so excited to introduce Elizabeth Drysdale. She is a relatively new author, but her books sound amazing. She writes romantic fantasy, and I know you're going to love hearing about them. As always, if you ask a question or leave a comment in the comment section below, you'll automatically be entered to win a copy of Out of Time by Elizabeth Drysdale. You also need to go right to my website and sign up for my newsletter, because there you will be able to download a free copy of Jesse and James by me, Jen Spencer. It's my wildly romantic Western romance, which is book 2 in the Cowboys of the Butterfly Ranch series. Be sure to pick up Rachel and Riley, book 1, and also my sweet contemporary romance, Dandelion Meadows. All books that you're just going to love reading, and you definitely need some reading in January. Cozy up to the fireplace and a cup of hot cocoa and just read. So now I'm really excited for you to meet Elizabeth Drysdale. Elizabeth, hello. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
I'm so excited to have you on the first Jen Spencer Book Club of the year. And so just really thrilled that you would agree to be on with us. Tell us about you and your writing. I love your covers of your books, everything. I'm just so excited for your writing career.
Yeah, me too. I've been writing, I feel like, my whole life. I won an award in first grade for my writing of all the elementary school students. So I feel like writing has always been something that I've been very drawn to. I grew up in I was in a military family, so we moved around a lot, and books were a huge comfort to me as I waited to make friends at each new post and things. And so I read books, I wrote books, and when I was older, then I wrote real books, and now they get to be published, and there's nothing better, I feel like, than holding your published book in your hand.
With your name on the cover, it is magical. I have to
say. It
is. So true. Well, so when did you actually get into, I shouldn't say real writing, but when were you
serious writing?
Yeah.
I started seriously writing about 8 years ago. I had graduated from college, and we had 2 small kids at this point, my husband and I said, I don't want to work. I want to write and take care of our kids. I said, is that going to be okay? And he said, I don't care. Do whatever you want. So I've been writing since then. I have written 15 manuscripts. So I feel like it's pretty serious at this point, my relationship with my writing. And then my first book was released in 2020, which was probably not the best year to have a debut novel. But my second one came out in 2021, and I'm in negotiations right now for another. So I'm hopeful that more are coming.
Yay. So who is your publisher?
So my publisher for my first 2 books has been Cedar Fort, but they've decided not to publish fiction anymore, which is a problem since that's what I write. Yep. So I'm in negotiation now with a couple other publishers, hoping that I'm a good fit, that we're a good fit for each other, since that's an interesting relationship to try and figure out.
Oh, yes. Oh, well, I hope that works out. That is so great. 2020, it's weird. I had a book that was supposed to come out in 2020, and my same thing happened. My publisher pulled it because they're like, the market is just really
Not a
bad.
good year.
Which feels kind of weird because I feel like everybody was stuck at home. Why wouldn't they want to, read more books? But whatever. So
I know I read a lot of books in 2020.
I did too. Anything to distract me from this terrible thing that was happening. But
Yeah.
anyway, well, so tell us about your books.
So my first book is Curse of the Forgotten, and it's kind of a Beauty and the Beast rewrite. The curses are a little different and stuff, but it is my take on that. And then my second book, Out of Time, is a story about a girl who has to go back in time to save the son of to save the son of the man who cursed her family to break the curse on them. So she's from a family of witches, and she's not a very good witch. She can't even make it into the coven because her magic isn't good enough. But the fate of the family is resting on her and her very poor abilities as she goes back to 16th century, or sorry, 17th century New England to save this man.
Wow, that sounds incredibly clever, first of all. So, and is it romantic? Does it have some
It is romantic because
Yeah.
I feel like what's the point in reading if there's not a little romance in there? So there is some tension with her and a few men, but one in particular that really captures her.
So, you said you're doing a third book. So it's not any series. These are all just standalone kind of books.
Yeah, all standalones at this point. I did write a prequel to Out of Time and actually a sequel for Curse of the Forgotten, but they're all tied up with my publisher. So at this point, who knows what will happen?
So what does happen at that point? Do they say, here, you can have the rights back, or do they just say, we just want to keep it? What happens?
They gave us the option to buy back our rights, all of us fiction authors, but I wasn't super interested in it at the time because my books are in Deseret and Siegel and a Barnes and Noble. And so I was like, I really like that they're there. It makes me happy to see them on the shelves. And
Yeah.
so that wasn't a thing for me, but I have a friend who's also published with this publisher and his books didn't make it in. So he did look into that and they said, well, you have to buy all the copies of your books in our warehouse. We have 400. And he said, never mind. So
Wow. Well,
it just depends.
So the rights, I mean, are they still going to publish those ones that they have the rights to, or are they, I mean, what do they do?
I think that they're print on demand at this point.
Okay.
So if you run out of warehouse stores, which I mean, depending on how many of mine that they printed, I think I'm doing pretty well as far as warehouse stores go. So in theory, they're just print on demand at this point.
Wow.
So it's a weird place to be in, but
weird.
But I'm grateful to have them. I'm grateful to hold them, and they are still in print. So
yeah,
that's what matters.
That's so great. Well, so you said you have 15 manuscripts written. Are you going to eventually try to get them published?
That is the goal. There are 4 of mine in particular that I'm a fan of right now, that I'm hoping to push. I have 2 that are under discussion, and I just finished a new manuscript, which was my very first foray into adult clean romance. So I'm really interested in what might happen with that one, but obviously I just finished the first draft, so that has a lot of work to go still.
So like contemporary.
Yes, contemporary, which was my first attempt at that, but I was ready to try something new. I don't know if that ever happens to you, that you feel like you got to just kind of break out of kind of the writing ruts and try something new like that.
Oh yeah, for sure. That's why I started a whole new pen name, because I write under Amish under Jennifer Beckstrand and everything else under Jen Spencer, because I did want to try some.
Yeah.
I really admire people who write that in that fantasy genre, because man, you got to be so creative and you got to build all these worlds. And so like your Beauty and the Beast, did you have to build all the magic and the places and the worlds that you set this in?
Yeah, because mine is, like I said, different than the original story. In fact, in my version, the whole world, the beast's essentially his world is underground. So it's been like hibernating this whole time, and she discovers it and gets stuck and all that kind of stuff. So you do kind of have to figure that out and figure out your magic system of what does it take to use magic? What are the parameters around the magic that's already been used? So that was an interesting thing, especially for that one, because the curse isn't what you think it's going to be. Everyone has a little bit different curses happening to them that have to be broken. So it was an interesting thing to kind of to try out. But I actually wrote that one after I wrote Out of Time. Out of Time is an older manuscript for me, so I already had some experience with magic and curses. It's ironic, I've only ever written 2 books with curses, and they're both the ones that are published right now. but yeah, I had some experience with that and trying to figure that out, and what the magic systems would look like to me, because right. I think that's the thing that happens with fantasy writers, is you have to kind of figure out what makes you different, what makes your perception of it different, to make your story more clever or interesting or that kind of stuff.
Yeah, to make it stand out. Well, and I think that you would really have to think very hard and develop that very carefully, because I hate it when you read a book and then the rules change, for the magic, or, oh, this isn't really how it's done. Or I felt like that happened a little bit in the Star Wars movies, where suddenly the Jedis could heal people.
Yeah.
Know that,
or keep you alive in space.
Exactly. Right. So
yeah.
But I see, because that was written over years and years and years and years and years, but it just kind of takes you out of the story just a little bit. So
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I really appreciate that, the care that's taken in just making sure that everything works and all the rules are followed and everything.
You don't want any plot holes in your stories that have to do with your magic, especially.
So true. Well, hey, it has been so much fun talking to you. I just have a couple of really fun questions before we finish. What is your favorite romantic movie?
Oh, my favorite romantic movie. I think it's probably Ever After. I love that classic story.
It's so good. Classic Cinderella, but just so clever. Again, really clever how they've kind of twisted it. My daughters and I did a Jen Spencer 10-minute book club on our favorite adaptations of Cinderella. And that was everybody's favorite adaptation, except for mine, which was Slipper and the Rose, because, that was my childhood. Anyway, yeah, that's such a good movie. I love it. Okay, last question. You're stuck on a desert island. Would you rather have a lifetime supply of chocolate or toilet paper?
Chocolate, definitely chocolate.
Okay.
I'll make the toilet paper thing work some other way, but you can't substitute chocolate.
That's true. There's just no good substitute. It's so true. I've been doing this keto diet, and you can have, this bitter, little bitter chocolate, a few squares, and it's just not the same.
For sure.
Yeah. It has to be pure, unadulterated milk chocolate. I guess that's adulterated chocolate. Anyway.
It's the better version.
Yeah. Well, Elizabeth, thank you so much for being here. It's just been a pleasure. Readers, be sure and check out of Time. It sounds amazing, and good luck to you. We hope that everything else falls into place, and we hope to see you on the New York Times bestseller list someday.
Oh, fingers crossed.